Okay, so the last video I talked about why the pick is a good thing. Now, there are people out there who will fight me to the death on not playing with a pick when playing the bass, just because they're so set in, just doing it with their fingers, or they just, for whatever reason, can't play with a pick. Well, there is a technique that can help alleviate this, where you can get the preciseness and crispness of a pick without having to pick one up. I learned about this in an issue of Bass Player magazine. It was an article written by Bryan, who is the bassist for, or who was the bassist for Weasel Zappa. I think he's also done some work with Steve Vai. He's also a solo artist and the touring bassist for Death Clock. The technique is called flicking and picking, but I think you can also call this the Geddy Lee flamenco style of playing. Basically, in the article, what Bryan suggests you use is your ring and your index and middle finger. But honestly, if you can get this technique down with 4 fingers, you got 4 picks on one hand. So why not? Why not try to learn this on as many fingers as you can? Basically, the concept is the exact same as using a pick, but you use it with your finger. So you see my finger set up on the G string here. Downstroke, you pluck it like you normally would, but on the upstroke, you make sure that you can get some of your nail and just flick upward. So it's as simple as that. And you can take songs that are played by pick players and probably get your fingers to do what the pick is doing. And there are techniques that you can use with your right hand if it's a simple enough part where you can mute the string while you're picking, so you can get that palm mute effect. I'll go into it more when we're talking about left hand technique and, proper posturing and positioning there. The last thing I want to talk about with right hand for this week is positioning of the thumb on the bass. Now, this is something that is dealt with fingerstyle more than anything. There are thumb picks out there. Let me just show you. This is a thumb pick. So this is another way you can do more of a hybrid picking thing. You position your thumb somewhere on the bass, and you can go from fingerstyle to pick, playing in a breeze. But for fingerstyle players predominantly, more times than you can shake a stick at, with finger playing, you see them with their thumb anchored somewhere on the bass. I've mentioned that I like to anchor my thumb on the pickup closest to the neck. There is another thing that I learned about in Bassmaster that I'm going to pass along to you called floating thumb. Now, you may think, what the hell is floating thumb? Floating thumb is really quite simple. Instead of keeping your thumb positioned in one place the entire song, you move your thumb around so you can get to more areas of the bass cleanly and smoothly. Yes, you can. As you can see, by keeping my thumb anchored, I can, reach all the strings. But there's some awkward arm lifts and whatnot, and if you want to just keep your arm in one place and not have to move it around, you just keep your thumb anchored some way, but when you're going for a string jump, you just slide it up. It's that simple and that easy. But of course, like everything that I've been teaching you this week with right hand technique, you need to practice, practice, practice so you can do it and do it smoothly and not fuck yourself up when you're playing. You always want to avoid that. Don't use anything that I'm teaching you unless you practice it and perfect it and can do it cleanly and smoothly, because no one wants a show off just for the sake of showing off if they can't do the damn technique properly.